Hey, this is Rahul with RahulCom, and at our channel we are always listening to what you want. There has been countless requests for a full review of the Bajaj Pulsar RS200 and the KTM RC200, but I couldn't get the bikes here in Kolkata. That is why we traveled all the way up to Lavasa to bring you this review. We did a full road test over a distance of 200 kilometers of mixed riding in canyons, highway and city to understand the nature of both the motorcycles. So let's find out what we got out of our road test. It always starts early morning when the tires are cold and the visibility is low. I started with the Pulsar as I have ridden the RC200 before. The first thing you would notice while sitting on the Pulsar is that how relaxed the bike feels. You have a certain feeling of sitting on top of the bike and not in it. It kind of tells you to relax. The plush rider seat and the raised clip-ons only add to that feeling. Compare that to the RC and it's vastly different. The seat is much harder and lower. Clip-ons make you arch your back and lean in further. Right from the word go, the message from the KTM is very clear. You're here to race and not to relax. The RC is costlier than even the ABS version of the RS by around Rs 50,000. So a buyer who is considering both the bikes would want the RC to have much better performance, and it doesn't disappoint. The power delivery on the RC is linear, but the explosion beyond 5,500 RPM like the RC390 is not present here. But the RC200 has a very quick and true throttle response. The power delivery is very sweet and it gives you the confidence to push harder and harder, and there is hard engine braking as we have come to expect from the KTM bikes. The RS ridden on its own may feel adequate, but riding back to back with the RC, the flaws seem to come out more. The fuel injection system makes the delivery very smooth, but the bike lacks in low and mid-range. The gearing is taller and may favor touring, but it doesn't come in handy in spirited riding. Lavasa is an hour's drive away from the main city of Pune, and the streets were wet from the heavy rain of the previous night, and it was not so easy to keep up with our lead test rider Abhi, who was getting away at the front like Jorge Lorenzo at the recent MotoGP races. However, I learned on the fly that the Pulsar power comes in late at around 6,000 RPM, and the only way to stay with the wickedly fast RC rider was going to be keeping the engine in high boils throughout. On that note, the Pulsar does seem like a free revving engine, and those high RPMs didn't seem to stress the engine, which is a very good thing. On straight out drag, the Pulsar is no match for the RC. The RC is lighter and the gearing is shorter, and it's always raring to go. The RC won the drags quite easily, and roll-on acceleration was also quite higher on the RC. I believe to find out which bike is faster, you have to do a combination testing of power, brakes, acceleration and handling. All these come together to give the bike its pace, and I was tired of being outpaced by the RC, so we decided to switch the bikes. For the first time on that day, I got on the saddle of the RC. The RC was very clear to me. Enough relaxation, get on the bike and ride me hard. I was riding on Lavasa for the very first time, but with the RC, I was easily keeping up with the RS200. Of course, the RS tires were warming up as well, and in the second phase, the RS did much better. Both the bikes feel completely different in handling and character. The RC has a trellis frame which makes the bike behave very stably under all situations. The low front end has surgical precision, and the brakes up front feel even better than the RC390. I think that's more to do with the lighter weight on the 200. It offers a lot of bite with the progressive feel and feedback. Braking can be done very late and the corrections can be made mid-corner. The Pulsar didn't inspire the same confidence in corners. Early morning, I felt like losing the front end when the tires were cold, but as the tires warmed up, the grip level increased. At one point of time, I started feeling confident and even overtook the RC, but it was hard to stay up front, so I just let him pass and followed him instead. The idea is to get used to the motorcycle. We were both riding it for the first time. I felt the front was much softer and you have to be very smooth with the RS. The brakes don't have that much bite and the front end also dives under hard braking. So you have to take better lines, do your braking early and then lean in. Surprisingly, the RS gained much pace after we got to understand the bike. You can't play rough with the RS like you can with the RC, but once you get to understand the bike's character, it has good pace and tires on both the bikes have similar grip levels. The MRFs on the RS are specially made for it and they worked as well as the Duke's MRF tires. Wet grip isn't MRF's forte though. An early morning, a sudden speed breaker had surprised me enough to lock the front end on the RS200. The ABS unit on this bike is a single channel unit. Simply put, it only prevents the front end lock. I feel the ABS kicks in very late on this bike and after the wheel has started skidding quite a bit. It isn't a very comforting feeling because you feel like you're sliding, but then when the ABS does kick in, it deactivates the lock and saves you. Our first phase of testing was over and we had reached the mountaintop of Lavasa, but it was looking downhill for the RS200. The RC had beaten it in almost every department we had tested so far. And thus, we started our run downhill. We started out in a relaxed pace, and that is when I realized just how comfortable the Pulsar felt after riding the RC. The tires had warmed up nicely, and so had the tarmac. The Pulsar kept up pretty well, and it was an effortless and relaxed riding experience. Riding posture-wise, the Pulsar is relaxed, as I've said before, but the same suspension which wasn't feeling that good on the corners felt extremely comfy on those big trademark Lavasa speed breakers. And on a bad stretch of road, the Pulsar absorbed the bumps so well that I could actually ride faster, whereas on the RC, the bad sections were jittering my bones and begging me to slow down. The Pulsar wins hands down in rider comfort. Speaking of looks, we took a break on our downhill run and started admiring the bikes. The approach in styling is very different. The Pulsar tries to look like a bigger displacement bike and it does have more road presence than the RC. The candy yellow color only adds to it. But somewhere along the line, the body balance start to look a little boxy and overdone. There are too many lines, graphics and even vents coming together on one bike, but in flesh it does manage to look quite well. The RC200 in its stealthy matte black avatar looks minimalist. Both the bikes have TRLs, twin projector headlamps, recesses into the bodywork for the pillion to grab on, but the approach is very different. I love the new tail lamps on the Pulsar though. On our way back, the RC rider had disappeared because he's always ready to race, but I wanted to do some relaxed riding and that is where I enjoyed the RS the most. The tour-friendly character came through and it was a joy to ride the highway, and apart from the weight, city riding was very comfortable. The lack of low-end power seems to be a bad thing though. I have ridden the RC200 in city as well. I could say that the shorter gearing, the lightweight and low and mid-range power really makes RC200 good in the city, but due to the aggressive posture I would give this round to the Pulsar as well, but only slightly because they're not that far apart. For highway touring, the Pulsar wins hands down. The single channel ABS is still better than no ABS. So by this time I'm sure that you're wanting to know our final verdict. After this road test, we cannot call the RC an overpriced product. It's lighter, the engine feels better, the power comes on instantly and the bike gets USD forks, better swing arm, a DOHC engine and feels like a much more premium package. To learn sport riding or canyon carving, this is the tool of choice. It will tire you out in the city and kick you hard in the touring, but I know owners do get used to the aggressive riding posture and the wrist pain usually fades away after a while. But some people just have a more relaxed approach to life. The road on the way to Lavasa has some pretty hard sections, and the RC is punishing out there. And the Pulsar doesn't win in the twisty section, but it makes an overall more practical choice. For me, the bonus is despite the tour-friendly setup, once you understand the bike, you can ride it spiritedly. It does reasonably well everywhere, and that makes the Pulsar a very suitable motorcycle for markets like us. And when I think of the pricing, it almost feels unbelievable. Remind you, this is just a first generation design and future versions will be much better. And if Bajaj is listening, I would want them to improve the fit and finish a bit. By the time we ended this testing, the left side rear view mirror had come loose, and there are lots of parts in plastics which just don't feel up to the quality. I think if they just iron out the power delivery problems and work on the fit and finish a bit, we'll have a big champion in our hands. We conclude our test here with no clear winner, but I think as a buyer, you have had a clear perspective from this review that which motorcycle suits you. If you have any further questions, do write it down below, but don't go away. Stay tuned for the contest. And finally, it's the moment which you have all been waiting for, your chance to win an Alpinestars SMX2 Air Carbon. If you do not believe that we really give away, check this video out where we gave away an Alpinestars gloves last time. So, rules to this legit contest is very simple. First of all, you must be subscribed to my channel. If you're already subscribed, please don't do anything because I hate it when people click that button again and accidentally unsubscribe. If you're not subscribed, hit that red button below and it'll be subscribed to my channel. Then next step is use YouTube's share button to share this video to Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus, and leave a comment below. That's step number 3. So step 1, subscribe to my channel. Step 2, share this video to Facebook, Google Plus, whatever social network that you use. Then step 3, leave a comment below that you're entering the contest. Also leave your feedback about the video. Likes are not mandatory on the video, but I always appreciate your likes. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and remain subscribed. I'll hope to keep you entertained with more and more reviews, videos, and other things like rides and more giveaways. So stay tuned, stay connected, and the winners will be declared within the next 2 months. So come back to get your gloves if you win it. Thanks for watching. This is Rahul and I'm signing out. Goodbye.